played Lisa the Painful, right? If so, you've played Lisa the Pointless too then, right? If you haven't, then you should probably go play them and then watch this video. This video is to show you the events of Lisa the Pointless away from Alex and Joel's perspective, summarize what exactly happened before the White Flash ruined Olathe, and show what the remaining men did to survive the new world. Some things to remember before we start. First, this video has been made before Lisa the Pointless Monster update. Once MU drops, don't expect everything said here to still be accurate. And second, we won't be covering any plot details added by the countless Lisa the Pointless fan mods out there. With everything out of the way, let's begin. Our story begins during the Cold War. Tensions between the USA and Russia are heating up. A mysterious government coalition, known as the Last Matador Commission, is formed with the simple goal of fighting the Soviets by maintaining the people's American spirit, no matter what. Shortly after America's loss in the Vietnam War, Vietnam had officially declared itself communist. Seeing this, many other countries would rebel against their capitalist governments in favor of communism. One of these countries was New Zealand, which successfully established a communist regime after rebellion against their government. Angered by this, the USA declares war on New Zealand in an attempt to quote-unquote save New Zealand from its newfound communist rulers, leading to what is referred to as the New Zealand Crisis. With the USA getting more and more desperate to defeat New Zealand, the UK leave NATO, wanting absolutely nothing to do with America's capitalist conquest. Newspapers report on this with headlines saying, "Who needs them anyway?" and other headlines calling for worldwide pre-victory celebrations. As the war against New Zealand wages on, a member of the FBI, Office Otoman, employs the mysterious scientist, Dr. Yado, to create a new weapon that could help the US in war. This action makes Office Otoman a person of interest to the Last Matador Commission, and leads to them personally funding Dr. Yado's project, which he has named Joy. The Joy project would be a complete failure, as soldiers who took the drug would mutate into horrific beasts that wouldn't obey orders and would only mindlessly slaughter to their heart's content. The money wasted on the Joy project would be the final nail in the coffin for the US, as they would lose the New Zealand crisis. After the loss taken from the New Zealand crisis, the Last Matador Commission goes into full damage control, doing anything to fight the Soviet threat in the US. The first course of action was to take care of the growing pro-communist ideals held by foreign countries. To do this, they enlist the help of Mortimer Gunhaus, and modeled him into a ruthless assassin. He'd go on to successfully assassinate over 30 foreign leaders while working with the Last Matador Commission. Second, the Last Matador Commission would have to do something with the growing support of communist politicians in America. To stop this, they would create a smear campaign to make communists look like a bunch of trash-humping crazy people. This would lead to the creation of a mental illness named garbage insanity, with the main symptom being the blind worship of garbage. The public falls for garbage insanity quickly, some newspapers labeling it as the first threat to America. Many real deaths were labeled as being caused by garbage insanity, one of which was the professional wrestler Chris Bellucci's wife. Upon her passing, Chris dedicated his life to spreading awareness of the illness. Chris would become a person of interest to the Last Matador Commission because of this. As worry of garbage insanity spreads and the image of the Soviets gets worse, the Soviets begin to get desperate and start taking drastic measures to improve their public reception. But we'll get into that later. For now, let's get away from all this geopolitical nonsense and focus on the people it was affecting in America. Instructional VHS tapes teaching a new martial art called Velvet Fu hit store shelves across America, being advertised as being used by the ancient Zhang Jingzhong. Velvet Fu isn't a real martial art. It was something easy to teach, so TV salesmen could make as much training tapes as possible to sell to kids and parents who didn't know any better. Due to its scammy nature, these VHS tapes would be banned from most retailers. But this didn't stop some kids from getting their hands on it. A Mexican gunsmith, known as El Elefante Vincenzo, forges a bolt-action pistol and a custom bullet to go alongside it. The gun is said to have unimaginable destructive power behind it, at the cost of requiring a, quote, truly free spirit to fire it. Elefante attempted to fire this, but ended up critically injured and permanently blind from the gun's power, which made him wear a strange rubber trunk as some sort of vision wear. Later on, the gun would be sold without its bullet at an auction. A grandparent to the Miller family would buy this gun to both launder money and rob cars. A worldwide martial arts tournament is being held in Olathe for the first time. Notable competitors include Chue Te and the main fighter Zhang Gilak. User of the previously mentioned Velvet Fu, Alex Churchland, goes up against Stan Kurian, user of the martial art Aikido. Stan would win this fight 0-5. Alex Churchland would never be seen in another martial arts tournament ever again, while Stan Kurian would lose the very next match he was in, and later lose motivation for martial arts entirely, never to be seen again. An athletic apparel company named King is making waves across America for its high quality yet very expensive sportswear. Wanting to cash in on this, a Taiwanese bootleg company titled Kung is founded, with the sole purpose being to copy every single product King releases. Hearing rumors about King releasing a new brand of sports jerseys, Kung rushed out their ripoff, titled the Infinity Jersey. After the jersey's release, the Kung company would find out that King was never planning on creating a series of sports jerseys. Despite being a bootleg company, Kung, by some horrific accident, made something completely original. The Infinity jerseys were a complete train wreck due to low sales and an unknown PR disaster. The remaining jerseys would be buried across America to hopefully never be seen again. Now, back to the news of the world. The Soviets, damaged by their image created by garbage insanity, attempt to hire the two Versace brothers, Louis and Bob, to try and destigmatize garbage insanity amongst the public. Try and make it look like dry humping garbage isn't as disgusting as it sounds. Then, suddenly, before anything could happen next, the new millennium struck, and the world was consumed by a giant white flash. After the white flash, time flowed differently, most of the world became a vast desert, and all women disappeared. No one knows exactly what caused the flash. Some say it was a Soviet experiment gone wrong, some say it was an act of God, some say it was the previously mentioned Dr. Yado. All we do know is that the world everyone once knew has died, and in its place, a post-apocalyptic nightmare filled with gangs, garbage, and violence. A Sentai anime cosplayer going by Fly Minetti would be the unhailed founder of an island overflowing with garbage, aptly named Garbage Island. Garbage Island went on to be the home of the Cellophane Commune. The Cellophane Commune is a suicide cult, intent on becoming one with garbage. The process of becoming one with garbage usually involves making love to full trash bags, or in extreme cases, suffocating yourself in cellophane bags. Some crave this garbage enlightenment so much they end up going insane, even by Garbage Island standards. These people became rag maggots, and can be seen wriggling around parts of Garbage Island fighting anyone who gets in their way. Two figures grow notability on Garbage Island. Former garbage man Larry Davis became a prophet in garbage beliefs, gaining a following of pupils. And Roland von Buckingham, a former failed politician, would enlist himself as the sole spokesperson for Garbage Island, as well as acting as its defender. Roland quickly became the most hated person on Garbage Island, only having two active supporters, Augustus Estrada, a former homeless drifter turned wise old artist, and Richie Cheesedust, Roland's secret admirer. To the west of Olathe, a group calling themselves the New Crew terrorized the people for fun. This group was led by a man named New, who had the mysterious power to shoot lasers from his eyes, apparently. A silent, strong man wearing a red skull mask, only known as Rando, wipes out almost every member of the New Crew, only leaving the member Sharik Kaukaz as the sole survivor. Rando also puts an end to a warlord known as Lord Gao, much to the celebration of Olathe. These actions would lead to Rando gaining a following, which would eventually become the Rando Army, a military attempting to keep Olathe peaceful, yet usually failing due to their sheer numbers and poor management from Rando himself. Due to the sheer number of people the Rando army wasted, they needed somewhere to dump all these dead bodies. The army saw Garbage Island as a perfect fit, and built a bridge to and from the island for easy access. The amount of bodies dumped into Garbage Island led to a mass grave being formed near the center. To the east of Olathe lies downtown Olathe, a once metropolis now mostly abandoned. This ghost town would be used as a playground for something known as the game. The rules of the game were never documented, but we can assume it was some sort of turf war involving spraying tags and sparring with members of rival gangs. Each gang were led by a member of a group called the Central Powers. Members of the Central Powers included Office Otoman, the previously mentioned member of the FBI, Fringe Boy, the oldest out of all the Central Powers, Zen Kai, a tall snake-like man suffering from glaucoma, Chef, a man with the funny curse, strong enough to not need a gang. Sylvester D. Maestri, aka Balloon Pants, a Central Power who previously drifted away from the game, now returned. Tectonic, an anxious little guy described as being self-detonating. Jesse Mack, leader of the Mack Clan, a 16-member gang composed entirely of his children. John Johnson, aka Three Finger Lover, aka Painzilla, aka Man-Made Miracle, aka Stealth Blitzkrieg, aka Backstab President, aka Modern Day Rhapsode, aka Bad Angel, aka Serbian Knife Fight, now going by Gold Diamond. A New Zealand crisis veteran donning a 14-karat gold king-branded tracksuit. And finally, Long Leg Lenny, yet another gangless member. Together, each Central Power would lead their gang into a never-ending cycle of sparring matches over recently acquired or lost turf, all of them except for Long Leg Lenny. Instead of participating in the game, Long Leg Lenny was simply observing, for information to share with his group called the Phone Men. Not much is known about the Phone Men. They're a group of 4 that span across Olathe, communicating through phones connected by the psychic powers of a member named Prismic. The 2 other members include Imp D, a resident of Garbage Island, and El Elefante Vincenzo, the previously mentioned gunsmith. Olathian archaeologists, presumably digging for riches of the pre-Flash world, would rediscover the previously mentioned Infinity Jersey. For some unknown reason, anyone who wore this jersey would go insane with bloodlust, killing anyone they could find. The violence caused by the jersey kept spreading and spreading, leading to what would be called the Infinity franchise. It's really hard to describe the Infinity franchise. The best way I can is that there's some murder cult playing a never-ending game that involves the senseless killing of as much people as possible in order to gain folds. Thankfully, the franchise remains small and unorganized, with no serious presence in Olathe. For now. For a while, everything remained stagnant in Olathe. Residents at Garbage Island would hump trash to death, the Rando army would dump bodies into Garbage Island, and the game would endlessly be played by the Central Powers. Then, everything changed, after 2 major events. News of a girl being spotted in the west begins to spread across the entirety of Olathe, gained the attention of the Rando army, who quickly mobilized to the west in search of the girl. So quick, they end up breaking the bridge they built to Garbage Island. The only soldiers who remain in East Olathe are postermen tasked with spreading the news, or soldiers who were forgotten in the rush to get to the west. Rumors of a city being located in the center of Olathe begin to spread. The city promises housing, work, law, and entertainment. To everyone, this sounds like a better place. Sightings of a huge crane lifting up entire buildings off the ground and carrying them into the city further these rumors. TVs that still have electricity begin to pick up a broadcast for the first time in years, showing a bizarre talk show hosted by Mortimer Gunhouse and a man named Roy Rude, the signal apparently coming from the city. The news of the city and the girl leave many participants of the game to abandon downtown Olathe. Those who stay are disrupted by an outbreak of the Infinity franchise. Many either join the franchise or die by the hands of the franchise. At this point, the franchise has completely taken over downtown Olathe. What remains of the Central Powers try and organize a dinner meeting to come up with solutions, but certain members have already turned to the franchise. In a flicker of light, the Central Powers have died, and with them, the game. Before rumors start to spread of the city, a former midwife, Jason Pike, desperately wants into the city. He strikes up a deal with a city faction called the Neon Flamingos. If Jason can get them a mysterious pink pill, they'll let him into the city. The pink pill is an object of worship for the Marauders, a peaceful group presumably living their days out in the endless wastes of Olathe. It's unknown as to why the Neon Flamingos want the pink pill, or if they even know what the pink pill is or does. Jason acquires the help of an unnamed professional thief defined by wearing a yellow tie to steal this pink pill from the Marauders, which he successfully does. Wanting their pill back, the Marauders chase Yellow Tie into downtown Olathe, where the game was once being played. The Marauders and Yellow Tie are cornered in what's left of downtown school by franchisers. Yellow Tie dies by the hands of a particularly dangerous franchiser named Arnold Spitch. Arnold takes the pink pill from Yellow Tie and keeps it, for no known reason. Jason Pike, still waiting for Yellow Tie, passes through a village seemingly made out of mud. This village is empty except for the former Central Power Sylvester and what remains of his crew, hiding out after fleeing downtown. Jason convinces Sylvester's gang to ditch this balloon pants man and follow him into the city, not actually planning on getting them into the city and instead planning to use these people as meat shields, just in case Jason encounters an old friend. Jason Pike and his newfound followers rest at a campsite, not too far away from a bus stop the Neon Flamingos will be at. Jason, still awaiting Yellow Tie, runs into two men, Alex and Joel, and tells them all about the city before resting. Jason awakes to his previously mentioned old friend, Hugo Leopadri. Hugo, having murdered all of Jason's followers except for Alex and Joel, gives Jason a choice. It's either Jason's life or the life of Alex and Joel. Jason picks himself, leaving Alex to be stabbed to near death before Joel gets up and attempts to fire his gun at Hugo, only to misfire due to him not loading. Jason patches up Alex. While doing so, he notices the pink pill Yellow Tie was supposed to deliver. Not questioning it, he takes the pink pill off Alex. Jason finally got his ticket to the city. Joel carries a bleeding Alex through seemingly never-ending mechanical rooms until they're let outside. Jason gives the pink pill to the seemingly disappointed Neon Flamingos. The Neon Flamingos hold up their end of the deal and Jason is allowed on the bus. Joel and Alex attempt to get on the bus before being stopped by the knife-wielding Chad Nickel. As Joel pleads to get on the bus, another Neon Flamingo, Gale Wonder, says they've got enough enemies and allows both on. With some sweet, sweet sound playing, the Neon Flamingos drive Jason, Alex, and Joel to the mystical city. And that is where the story of Lisa the Pointless ends for now. Thanks for watching. Huge thanks to the Lisa the Pointless wiki for almost all of the info in this video. There's still a lot I couldn't cover, so if there's anything you're confused about, go check out the wiki. And make sure to stay tuned for MU. Goodbye!